Well, hello, my name's Treesap, and for a good period of time, I was rather burnt out on roguelites, either way you want to say it. They're usually both in the fucking tags and the descriptions of the game, so it doesn't really matter. But I was burnt out on them, not because I feel like the genre is bad, no, I really enjoyed it, and because of that, I played a lot of them. I have a good portion of these games in my Steam library. I have them downloaded on consoles that I own, and I think because of that, I just kind of oversaturated my entire brain and gaming experience with them, and it got to a point where I realized, yeah, you can have too much of a good thing, and of course, also, you'll tend to run into some bad games here and there if you're consistently playing one genre, or just gaming in general. You'll run into some bad stuff if you're consistently playing a wide variety of things, especially if you're just being willy-nilly with what you choose and giving different things a chance. But recently, I have been getting back into it, and that's something I'm rather happy about, because if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be playing something like this, which is Tiny Rogue, a pretty cool little title that only costs like $10, but it has a good amount of replayability, which is common for this type of game, but it mixes in some cool elements. So of course you have the regular action roguelike stuff, which also have bullet hell, you have some RPG elements, and a few other things that when you mix them together, you get a pretty cool overall experience, and a rather unique one, I would say. And despite the game being early access, which isn't uncommon for this type of game, or really a lot of games in general, there's still a good amount of content in it. There's still a good amount of stuff, and it's actively being worked on frequently. It isn't one of those games where you buy it in early access and then it gets updates only in every blue moon, and you're like, man, this is getting kind of stale. No, since I bought the game, there's been multiple updates with good chunks of content in them. So this is definitely one of those titles that it's going to age pretty well, unless the creators go crazy or something and just start like going completely silent on the game, which you had to be crazy to do, because this is something that has overwhelmingly positive reviews, so you'd have to be a literal smooth brain to throw away all that goodwill by not working on it consistently. So now that I've kind of talked about that a little bit, maybe I should actually talk about what's really in the game. I've talked about some of the general stuff that describes it, but when it comes to the actual gameplay, which is the most important thing in, well, a video game, you know. In this game, you're basically trying to beat death. That is your only goal. You have to do some things to get to death. You have to go through multiple different floors, defeat the floor boss, and then you're on to the next one. And you keep doing that until finally you beat death. There's a little bit more to it, but I won't go into all those details, the spoilers, I guess, even though I wouldn't say it's like something that would ruin your experience or anything, but I'll still leave it for you to find out if you choose to play. And you have a variety of different characters you can play as. They all have their own little special abilities, their little perks, their own starting equipment, general benefits that'll help you. And they also have their own different stat distributions, because you know you have your dexterity, your strength, your intelligence, along with a bunch of other stats, both primary and secondary, that kind of affect how the overall gameplay happens and what your character is most effective at. And that's kind of where these RPG elements come into play. And you can also level up as you go throughout the different floors and different rooms, and you're just eating these different foods that give you usually a benefit to your stats, and sometimes you might get a benefit to one stat, a minus to another. It really all depends on how the RNG is treating you in that moment, but every time you eat some of that, you're going to level up. And you combine that with the fact that for every boss you beat, you get a crown, and that crown adds to your mastery, which basically allows you to unlock different perks that can help you on each run. And like I said, RNG is what you're at the mercy of, just like any roguelike. So you never know what kind of weapons or equipments or what kind of doors you'll be going through, which might take you to shops, events, taverns, arcades. It might give you a chest with a weapon, some gold, or any variety of things. There's a lot of stuff just jam-packed in, and you never really know what you're going to come across. There are ways to manipulate that through particular characters or particular perks you can unlock, but even then it still only slightly gives you a benefit of getting certain things, and you can still miss them or not go through them if you don't want to. And while I'll say this, the RNG usually won't be so bad that you will completely be finished with a run simply because of bad luck, but it can definitely make it a lot harder. Most certainly so. It can get to the point where you're really putting in some effort to defeat these bosses and just make it through, especially because there are ways of basically using this system that's called Cinder, where you basically, I feel like I said basically a lot, I said it again, Jesus, but you choose disadvantages that add to your XP that you get for mastery, which is useful, definitely. It's always good to progress faster through everything so you can get these perks to help you out, and you need every advantage, because this is a hard game. it can get very difficult, especially because you can mess up your build. Like I said, you usually will not find things that will definitely just ruin the game for you, but you can, as an individual, make choices that will make the game harder for you. And of course, if you're not very good at picking up and dodging the attacks of the enemies, because this does have those bullet hell elements, so you will be dodging a lot of things on the screen at once, and especially how hard you decide to make the game for yourself by using Cinder. And things get a little rough, but as you go through, you'll do a lot of things by second nature. You'll know what you need as you progress, especially depending on what type of build you're going for, and you'll take the opportunities you need to, and it'll become a far smoother ride. But that's with any game. You play it long enough, I hope you get better. Jesus, I do. And plus, sometimes you can run into some absolutely OP equipment. You have multiple slots for weapons, equipment, you have slots for accessories and offhands, and it can really help you. Some of them can absolutely break the game to a certain degree if you know the right combination through just trial and tribulations that you'll experience. They'll provide you with the knowledge necessary to know, okay, combine this, combine that, we got a good build going, we're really gonna just sweep this run. And I personally think these type of games are the best when you figure out the way you can cheese them, you know, just take advantage of every possible thing you can to succeed. Of course, it's early access, and even if it wasn't early access, you can always end up in a situation with, like, dang man, my favorite strategy got nerfed, but hey, you usually find some new ones and get back to playing. And I plan to play this game a lot more because it's genuinely good, and it just kind of really has everything needed to be infinitely replayable. But that's kind of a part of this genre as a whole, you know. Replayability is key, especially because you'll be doing so multiple times over and over again, especially if you're having a lot of difficulties, so it has to be enjoyable, which it is. And I think I'm done for now talking about this game. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for getting this far through the video. If you liked it, you can actually click the like button, you can subscribe, or you can dislike it and say it was terrible. It's really up to you at the end of the day. I'm not the boss of you. So yeah, peace. I'm out.